Doubles and Coffee, Parliament start, but Guardian Media Limited, PNM Fake News Media, Express, TV6, Newsday, CNC3. Some more they try to pretend that KAMLA didn't attend the post-cabinet on Thursday, while cabinet was still going on. Well, let me ask you all this. Parliament started at 1:30 p.m. on Friday. It finished at 1:16 a.m. on Saturday. And Penny ain't talk yet. Where Penny? Where the leader of the opposition? She didn't contribute. They had bills there of great importance to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The Children Life Fund Amendment. Penny don't care about saving children's lives. It's not important for her to take time to research, to read, to see where the original bill came from in 2010. Look at the contributions of the then Prime Minister KAMLA Persad, research, check out what happened, how many children's lives were saved, how the PNM failed from 2015 September to 2025 April 28 to save children's lives, how the PNM tried to cut funding by not saving children's lives. They didn't bother Penny. Penny didn't want to talk. She didn't want the population to hear her love for children. And then there was another bill to squash, eliminate, get rid of the PNM TTRA, Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, that Colm Imber wanted to make for himself, but put a PNM board to select a PNM in charge, to select PNM people to go and oversee taxes, to implement and weaponize taxation against the citizens. Penny didn't find that was a critical bill. The PNM has been trying to shove that down the throat of the population since 2008 into 2010, and we're in 2025. But Penny didn't talk. She hardly even look up. What was so interesting on Penny there that she only keeping her eyes down to the ground? Oh, she's shame. But KAMLA Persad Bisesa, the Honorable Prime Minister, who was there in the Parliament from 1 p.m., she spoke at about 1:45, 1:50 p.m. She made a prime ministerial statement. I believe it was about 23 minutes long. Then came the debate on the Children's Life Fund Amendment Bill. And you know who stood up and contributed her full time plus extra time? The Honorable KAMLA Persad Bisesa. She was scathing, she was brilliant, she was passionate. She showed who she was as a Prime Minister. That was her first cabinet note when she became Prime Minister in her first iteration. And now her first bill brought to the Parliament to debate is to save children's lives, to improve the quality of children's lives. If all you don't understand the difference between KAMLA Persad Bisesa and Rowley and Smallpin, well, I cannot help you. She delivered a brilliant, well-researched, intelligent, amazing contribution that you must go and look if you didn't see it. But you know, KAMLA Persad Bisesa didn't stop there, because in the next debate, I say, but wait now, who going on debate? And KAMLA Persad Bisesa, the Prime Minister, jumps up to debate the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority also. So not only did she make a ministerial statement on the Auditor General report to show the PNM corruption for yet another year, the Auditor General was unable to give an audit opinion on the accounts because of the PNM corruption, mismanagement, lack of records, lack of contracts. KAMLA listed them all and debated. She then debated the Children's Authority Amendment Bill and then the TTRA from 1:30 p.m. on Friday to 1:16 a.m. on Saturday. KAMLA Persad Bisesa was there. Where was Penny? Even when Imber was talking a set of nonsense on the Revenue Authority, as far as I know, Penny's supposed to sit down next to Imber. All you go and check the video, it had an empty chair. Where was Penny? Is Penny okay? What's wrong with Penny? She's not interested in issues affecting the population. She's leading what? The opposition. She didn't lead anything. But anyway, let me move on. If all you want to see government in action, when you saw those debates yesterday, the PNM now understands the difference between the UNC and the PNM. The brilliant contributions given yesterday by PNM ministers, PNM MPs downstairs, all of those of you who voted for UNC, you now know why you did. Because not only was the Prime Minister brilliant, in the first bill with the Revenue Authority, you had Lakram Bodo, you had Dr. Rishi Sicharan, who came out with brilliant presentations showing the passion, the attention, the care, and the love. But boy, when it came to the Revenue Authority, well, KAMLA Pasad Bissessa was amazing. Oh, I nearly forget, boy, Barry Parat, boy. Barry Parat on the Children's Authority Amendment. They go and listen to that contribution. If you see facts, figures, politics, licks, blows to the PNM to show you why the PNM must stay in opposition for the next 15, 20, 30 years. PNM should rebrand and come with some other brand, because that was a licking. Then in the Revenue Authority bill, Dave Tanko, of course, the Minister of Finance, calm, cool, collected, showing that Imbot wanted to control your taxes. Imbot wanted to infiltrate another independent institution. But the highlight of the night in the Parliament, anybody who believes in their country, anybody who loves their country, anybody who is interested in politics, go to the Parliament channel, find the Minister Clyde Elder, the MP for Labre, the people of Labre. This is the first time probably in history, or you could stand up and feel proud, boy. Clyde Elder, a former labor union leader, CWU, who get blown out and fire from TSTT. He gave the most fiery presentation. He was brilliant. He was researched. He hit Imbot some lash. Imbot gets shorter in the chair. Imbot face turned red. Clyde Elder, my brother, go to the head of the class, debut presentation with pure brilliance, fire, speak, passion, research, information. Wow, you all have to go and hear that. But anyway, he was. But Imbot came to try to say in the TTRA, he quoted, and I must correct the record for you all. Imbot quoted from a Privy Council decision. Now, you know that we, the UNC, say we must keep the Privy Council, because the Privy Council across the pond, they're not influenced by politics, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, PNM politics, because you know the track record of the PNM with infiltrating independent institutions and the judiciary. You know we had judges messaging independent senators to bad talk UNC officials in the Senate. You know that you had PNM judges who only realized that it was their brother on a PNM board who brought the case after they listened to the case for 4 years. You have PNM judges married to Gilbert Peterson who didn't feel to recuse themselves, and so on. You have PNM judges who attacked the DP. So, you know, PNM tries to infiltrate. So when it comes to cases with a political tinge or political flavor, across the pond is better, because they don't know about PNM, they don't know about UNC, and they just look at the information and the facts at hand and rule. Now, there is a negative to that too, because when you're across the pond, you don't know how vile and sick and disgusting and undemocratic and wicked and vindictive and malicious the PNM is. So, Colmimba tried to tell the population of Trinidad and Tobago by reading out of a judgment made by the board of the Privy Council in a case involving the TTRA. He read one paragraph, right? And the paragraph that he read from the judgment, I had read it too, because I read the whole judgment. It said, well, the TTRA, you know, because our point was, this Minister of Finance, this PNM, this Imbot, appointing a board to then appoint the head of the TTRA, and all the executive officers and those like CEOs across the board, the Director General and others, would be warped with Balizé juice, because when the PNM appoint a board, could you imagine Imbert and Rowley and the PNM cabinet appointing a board? Here, who might have been the board in charge of your taxes? Ingrid Lashley, Dr. Miriam Abdul Richards, the chairman Wati from Plipdeco, who's still trying to hold on even though election done since April 28. Eustace Nances, Newman George, Kwamina Rowley, personal attorney, Wilfred Espine. These would have been the board members elected by the PNM to oversee your taxes. You feel confident that they would have been fair and impartial, and they would have selected a director general who is independent, apolitical, and treats everybody fair? Or do you think it would have been the normal? What about the PNM NGC board that they waste 233 million because the PNM tell them so to do, then they wanted an indemnity? We all know here how sickening the PNM is, how they get into everything, whether every independent institution from President House come down, Police Service Commission come down, Public Service Commission, all across the board, the EBC with full narcissist scope. Once the PNM is involved, independence goes out the door. We know that because we live here. But the Privy Councillors don't know that. So they made a judgment, and a part of it said that because the minister appoints the board and the board appoints the director general, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is political overreach and that there are checks and balances so to do to make sure. Well, them didn't understand PNM. Coleman but come out and read from that to say, look, the Privy Council say everything was okay. No, Coleman, but the people do not want you to select a board, to select a director general, to select other people in charge of taxation, assessment, penalties, fees, all of that. The people know PNM, so the TTRA is gone. The PNM fired people across the board. Go and listen to Clyde Elder. You were a total embarrassment. That call me, but the next embarrassment, let me go this video going along. The next embarrassment was Gadsby Dolly. We talking children's life one. And Gadsby Dolly, the Minister of Education, who failed to protect our children. School violence going up. School beating and bullying. Brick falling down on children's head. Education levels dropping. The performance at SEA, Cape and CSEC gone down. Children failing, 50% of the children failing. During COVID, 2,600 children disappear off the online class. They cut funding, they cut school feeding, they cut laptop, they cut everything, they cut planning school, they cut sport funding. They didn't protect our children, they cut guidance counselors, they cut all sides of social workers for our children. Gadsby Dolly say, the PNM has always respected children. Really, Gadsby Dolly? Gadsby Dolly, what about the Judith Jones report that arrived on the Prime Minister Rowley's desk in December of 2023 or 2022, and 3 years later we head in, and luckily KAMLA is there now. But for 2.5 years, the Judith Jones report sat there on your Prime Minister's desk with Ayanna Webster Roy and the PNM cabinet doing nothing. And the report said that children in homes funded by the government were being raped and battered and abused and tortured, and cigarettes burned on them and robbed and extorted. And you all sat there and did nothing. The PNM did nothing. The PNM does not care about children. The PNM never cared about children. And Gadsby Dolly comes here to talk about the PNM's track record on children. Go back to 1997, 98 and listen to the SABDA report and see if PNM care about children. Did the PNM care about Akil Chambers? Gadsby Dolly, think before you talk on the parliament. That's on the record, you know. Hansard to the rest of the population. When UNC wins, everyone wins. The PNM was decimated and destroyed in the parliament yesterday, leading from the front for 12 hours, 11 hours and 46 minutes actually was KAMLA Prasad Bisesa. Where was Penny? A penny for your thoughts. Oops, I can't see it on Hansard because you said nothing. Penny.